All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome into today's edition of In the Game. I am your host, Hustle, and as always, we're going to be diving into the markets, and we're going to be diving into the narratives that I think there is a Bitcoin pullback going on right now. I'll talk about my thesis on this pullback and why I do think this is just natural and healthy for the sustainability of the market, and why I do believe that altcoin rotation has truly just started. We'll go over some of the tokens that we've already called that are up tremendously from those lows, as well as the next narratives, as mentioned, that I do think still have a lot of potential on this leg up, because I don't think that this run is over, and I do see that liquidity rotating downward into alts. Let's dive into it. Like the video down below if you enjoy the content on Banter as well as on In the Game, and subscribe to the channel for shows here every single day on the channel. Quick shout out to our sponsors, Bybit, for all of your trading needs. You can sign up for a Bybit account down below. NordVPN, always navigate crypto safely. Never disclose your IP address. Use a VPN at all times. Vulcan Forge, one of the leading blockchain studios, Metaverse as a service, and the upcoming Elysium chain. We'll talk about that and why that's a major catalyst in this edition as well. And last but certainly not least, one of our newest sponsors on board, SinVerse, what truly looks like the Grand Theft Auto of Web3. You can actually sign up below, get some free gold Sin tokens, and start getting some weapons and some stuff like that inside of their ecosystem. I would definitely check that out. And SIDUS Heroes, the AAA intergalactic metaverse experience. You can check out all of our sponsors in the description down below. Let's go ahead and dive into it. And first and foremost, beautiful movement here on Avalanche. We mentioned around $16 that Avalanche had the best business developments throughout this, I would say, quarter one, right? With Tencent, TSM, Loco Legends, Hyperplay. There's so many things that came to the Avalanche platform, and now it's back above $20. So kudos to anyone who got in on those lows. And then within the Avalanche ecosystem, there is the Shrapnel token airdrop coming up for the operator holders. So if you hold operators and you haven't seen that, I would definitely head over to the Shrapnel Twitter and line up for that. Everyone loves a good airdrop. So if you already hold some Shrapnel operators, I would definitely follow these instructions. Ultra, we were preaching for a long time that around 20 cents was a fantastic entry point. And now it's up almost 2x from the news that Ultra Games is coming out on April 25th. And we see just today they have joined BNB Chain's Kickstart platform. Now, BNB Chain has so much liquidity. BNB Chain has a lot of freaking users. Despite them not being a top gaming chain, this is a major partnership. And I do think leading up to the 25th, about a week from now, Ultra still has some good room to go on the upside. We mentioned that Arbitrum was going to eventually take that liquidity, and it got that Asia pump almost, and it got that big time liquidity. I mean, it's almost at $1 billion in liquidity right now over the last 24 hours, which is absolutely crazy. Arbitrum from $1.10 up to $1.64. We've seen Magic go from its local lows of $1.24 up to $1.52. With that Arbitrum pump, of course, the best gaming ecosystem underneath Arbitrum was going to take that liquidity. Altura's up another 20% from the 2.5 cent level. We have Veracity running up. So what are those next narratives, right? Now, I do think that this Bitcoin pullback is very healthy and sustainable for the markets. And you can kind of take a look at it two ways. I do think that Bitcoin's strength during these time periods was due to the lack of the US dollar strength and the banking crisis. People wanted to rotate into something safer. And what is more safe than Bitcoin? To be honest, you have self-custody, you protect your own funds, you are your own bank in that time that you are using Bitcoin as, your kind of safe haven, right? So I think that rotation was just because of that. And you could see the traditional cycles. We might have a little bit of a dip coming around the corner, but I do think it is healthy. And I actually do think that this market will sustain itself for a little longer. Too much liquidity has entered into the crypto market over the last month's worth of time. And I don't think that's done trickling down from Bitcoin, because I do see that trickling down. And we've seen it with the altcoins that have pumped so far, like Avalanche, like Ultra, like Arbitrum, like Magic, like Altura. So what are the next narratives that I'm looking at? Just like Magic took a massive dip after their Arbitrum ecosystem airdrop, and it was like leading up to it, it kind of pumped, and now it dipped down to $1.20, and it stabilized at about $1.50. I think that Immutable is right in that same category. As we see, it went from 63 cents up to $1.53. And now it's stabilized at about $1.13, around $1 area. I really do think Immutable is loading up for a major move. I mean, Immutable gets tons of liquidity, the amount of games building on their platform, and the amount of quality games building on their platform. Illuvium, Ember Sword, which just came out with a playtest, which looks pretty fantastic in my opinion. They have WAGMI Games, they have Undead Blocks. There's so many top quality games coming to Immutable. It's really hard to ignore. And I think around $1 is definitely a very safe place to be getting involved with Immutable for the long term. We have Vulcan Forge sitting at about $4, but I'm going to compare this to Ultra. I think the developments with the Elysium blockchain are something that are going to be such a major catalyst for liquidity coming into the platform, the amount of bridging over to the new blockchain, utilizing their own tokens as the gas token. I think this is all going to play a big role in the next leg up for Vulcan Forge. This is a big week at Elysium Vulcan Forge blockchain, and they kind of tagged the Peer and Lava tokens. And as we see here, this is the bridge coming soon where you can swap PYR, W Lava, swap Peer and Lava. It can add liquidity to these pairs, remove liquidity to these pairs. As they mentioned, interoperability done right. I think the Elysium chain is going to be a major catalyst, like I said, just similar to Ultra. And as Miguel says, it's such an awesome L1. Guys, I will answer the altcoin questions that you have on other projects at the very end of the show. Stick around. About 8 to 10 minutes from now, we'll be taking questions in the chat. So don't worry, I'll answer all of your altcoin questions at that moment in time. Let's talk about one narrative that has definitely not pumped yet. Polkadot narrative, the Kusama ecosystem hasn't really moved yet, but the smart NFT ecosystems are moving, right? With Altura on the Unity SDK, for example, and getting on the Polygon ZK EVM. I think Remark, similarly, a smart NFT platform like Remark with the backing that they have on a chain like Polkadot and Kusama, kind of like underneath that ecosystem, I'm actually seeing a pretty decent, if you're looking at the risk reward on this ecosystem, I think it's a pretty good risk reward to be able to be looking at a $20 million market cap, just like Altura with Remark, who's putting these ERC capabilities live, the ability for a single NFT to have multiple outputs that can have the age-old problem solved of cross-game skins. So this is definitely, that's very high utility as far as the gaming space. And then where each NFT can also contain other NFTs, solving the age-old problem of airdrop spam, inefficient minting, disjointed experiences, and scattered POAPs and reputation. Well done, EVM team. Now let's test these on singular EVM coming soon. So I think that Remark has a lot of upside potential. And look at the range that we've been in on Polkadot for, you can almost go at a year that we've been between, let's just say, set like $8 and $6, right? This is about the most sideways chart in crypto. If we go back to like right here, basically, we have been nothing but between $6 and $9. And I think that this has been going sideways for so long that this narrative is due eventually. But I think the smart NFT narrative is here and figuring out interoperability within those platforms. So I think Remark has a lot of potential. Kind of if Kusama and Polkadot get a little bit of liquidity and a little bit of love during this altcoin rally, I definitely see Remark as the biggest winner out of that narrative. I think Theta has been trending sideways for a long time. The decentralized streaming narrative, we're seeing platforms like Kick come in to try to knock off Twitch in the Web 2 space, and Theta is the Web 3 version of Twitch. And I think that Theta also, if you look at the 3-month, we look at the 1 year even, we've just been kind of ranging sideways, and we'll go to the 3 months specifically with lows of about 90 cents and highs of about $1.20. We're kind of right in the middle of that zone at this moment in time. It's not really getting that much activity on the movements in the market at the moment. But I think that Theta is due for a leg up, especially if that liquidity trickles down. And Rand mentioned this morning, and this is important, guys. If Bitcoin holds the levels of 28 to 30, That's going to instill that confidence for people to actually want to rotate that liquidity down too. It's the confidence that the market is stable and that Bitcoin is going to stabilize. But if you look at the dominance, Bitcoin dominance is falling. And that's where I see the big opportunity on these altcoins. When you're looking at the watch list, what are some other narratives that haven't really played out during this altcoin run? Well, Metaverse. We've seen decentralized trading. We've seen liquid staking derivatives. We've seen the top crypto gaming blockchains. We've seen, all these different narratives, Arbitrum, the new, solution, the new blockchain that's out. And, after the airdrop, it's gotten that massive liquidity. I think Metaverse is another narrative that hasn't really gotten that love during this time period. I think 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗏 is one of the #1 plays underneath the Metaverse category, $95 million market cap, and even only 190 million on the fully diluted. And when you look at just the quality and the worlds that you want to immerse yourself in, if you're talking about Metaverse, this is where I want to experience the Metaverse. I don't want to go into something, not that Sandbox isn't going to perform. I don't want to go into the Web3 knockoff Minecraft and try to detach from, this is not the world that I would want to live in, right? But 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗏 is actually providing an experience that I would actually want to dive into and immerse myself into the 𝗦𝗵𝗲𝗍 that they call it. So, I think this is going to be the biggest winner out of the Metaverse sector. And I think that no product is competing with the quality of this. And 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗏 is leaps and bounds above other projects like Decentraland, Sandbox, and it's just a matter of time, I think, before it catches up on those platforms. And we're seeing decentralized trading get a lot of activity. One OG project, just like Gods Unchained, just like some of these OG projects, Splinterlands, etc. So I think those types of projects, they're not going to go away, trading card projects. And I also think the decentralized gamified yield narrative is never going to go away. People would love to have that, run quests with your heroes and, get involved in the LPs. And we're seeing a massive spike here on this narrative just today when we're talking about DeFi Kingdom's Jewel. Their platform is really kind of making a comeback, and the users are still using DeFi Kingdoms. This is one I still go in and I'll run quests with the mini heroes that I have, but I haven't really been investing actively into it. It's one that I have put on my watch list recently because DFK, it isn't going to die. And the amount of people that want that yield inside of a gamified narrative, this is one of the biggest plays. I also am looking at 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏, which is underneath the Arbitrum ecosystem. They're going to open up their LPs. They're going to have major stuff with their 𝗪𝗏 token, Launchpad. There's a lot to look forward to with 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏 as well. So that decentralized gamified yield narrative, I think, is always going to be here, and definitely something to look out for because this, DeFi Kingdoms took a lot of liquidity this morning. So we'll see if this continues. And it's honestly good to see that OG projects like DeFi Kingdoms are kind of sticking around. I have seen that the gameplay is coming up for NFT Champions, where they're going to have a bunch of streamers actually hopping into the game, which I think is going to be very telling, right? It's one thing whenever you show clips and you show screenshots, but once you actually see people's reactions to play in the game, that's going to really be the test of time. NFT Champions for the last week has kind of been taking that slow climb up, and it's such a low market cap. If the game is a real home run and the streamers are really enjoying it, I could definitely see another leg up for NFT Champions. I'm also eyeing WAGMI Games, as these are the 3 individual games I would say that I am looking at. They're all pretty low cap. DeFi Kingdom is about a 25 million. NFT Champions is about a 4 million circulating. And then WAGMI Games, 12 million fully diluted. There's not really a project out there that's pushing as hard to the mobile gaming market. And the mobile gaming market is the biggest sector of gamers in the entire world. Last week at NFT NYC, we had Scott Herman in the suit here, which was, it was fantastic to see. And that was awesome marketing. He's here with Robbie, head up at 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. They're on Immutable, and just everything they are doing to make this one of the most quality mobile games with IP, right? They have comics, they have a storyline, a legit lore, characters. Like, this has all the potential in the world to be like the Clash of Clans of the blockchain. So I'm really, really looking at 𝗬𝗏𝗡 Games is a low cap that could take some good liquidity if that money continues to trickle down. So to recap, we've seen the big pumps. Avalanche has done super well. Ultra's done well. Arbitrum's done well. Magic's done well. Altura's done well. These are all ones that we called here right on in the game. Now, the next ones I'm looking at is alongside 𝗬𝗏𝗡 Games, one of their games, or one of Immutable's games. I'm looking at Immutable to kind of reclaim this leg up because it had that buy the rumor, sell the news. We just seen Magic recover from their buy the rumor, sell the news. I'm definitely looking at Immutable. I'm looking at Vulcan Forge with their Elysium blockchain. I think that Polkadot and Kusama have been trending sideways for a little too long. And I do think that Remark has a good leg up left in it as well. Theta, Wilder World, DeFi Kingdoms is one that's interesting. You might want to keep your eye on, given the fact that, you know, the platform is making a comeback. It's a really interesting one. NFT Champions and 𝗬𝗏𝗡 Games. So Vera's, you know, it's been pumping. I believe it's up with like 26% over the last week. And if you take, you take a look at the 7 days, you know, really impressive movement on Veracity. I've held Veracity for a long time, so I'm really bullish on Veracity. So that's going to move us into the chat questions. Let's go ahead and take some chat questions. Compound and Aave. Yeah. I think Aave would be where I would look. But I'm not too big into Compound. I do think Aave is going to make it long term. Dogecoin's girlfriend is Shiba Inu, and their kid is UFO Gaming. And I think UFO Gaming is the meme coin of crypto gaming. I think that UFO Gaming will do really well long term. CHZ. I mean, am I forgetting? Yeah, okay, I thought it was Chili's. Yeah, I think this narrative's really good, you know. Big sports fan here, so like that narrative, it just hasn't caught fire yet. I think Chili's has a lot of upside potential, to be completely honest. I just think that narrative needs to get where it's going to be. I tweeted today that I don't think that like a first-person shooter is going to be the mass adoption sector for Web3 games. I actually mentioned that sports is. So I think that sports games, digital collectibles, and some of the stuff that Chili's is doing, I think has a lot of upside potential in the future for sure. UFO or Gala? I mean, Gala, way better project platform, but UFO has pumponomics. If you look at their tokenomics, it's very pumponomics. You know, all the supplies circulating. So I think UFO could be more explosive, but from a product perspective, I think Gala. What's better, night shift or day shift at McDonald's? The night shift, man. They let you on your phone sometimes. You slip away, you trade a little bit. Yeah, night shift for sure. Managers are too strict during the day shifts. What am I doing here, by the way? Polka City, is it worth it? It looks good. I want to see more from the platform, but I think Polka City looks good. Yep, absolutely. We mentioned that. DeFi Kingdoms of Arbitrum is 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏. 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏 is going to do really well, especially once the LPs go live. You know, big advocate of 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏. We called that very early here on the platform. Myria, bullish, but I think it's going to still take a little bit of a liquidity hit and a little bit of a dip because the nodes just went live. And there's going to be some sell pressure from those rewards. But I think Myria long-term is going to blow up for sure. LOL, awesome. Hope you like that answer. INJ, it's been performing really well. I believe it was the #1 trender this morning on CoinMarketCap. I just don't chase that pump. Like, look at the month chart, guys. Like, it's just 2x in a month. If you want to hop in and take that risk, be my guest. I would never recommend to buy something that just recently 2x'd. Unless the market cap was much lower than this. Like, if it was a 10 million market cap and at 2x, well, it could probably 10x from there, right? But to be honest, no. I wouldn't be buying into these types of pumps. Phantasma, bullish long-term. More developments just need to come out and see more games building on the platform. XRP is going to be one of the biggest winners in the bull run. It did just recently have a pump. It's ranging around 50 cents. I think that XRP will be a huge win long-term, especially with the CBDC conversation. As negative as that is, they are kind of the solution to that. So yeah, XRP will do well, but given the recent pump, it's kind of in accumulation zones, not really, you know, looking to pump again. It just recently went from like 35 cents up to 52 cents. Naka's going to do really well. I think Nakamoto games will perform really well in a bull market. And once that liquidity trickles down, 𝗠𝗏𝗃. We mentioned on the show long ago that 𝗠𝗏𝗃 was a fantastic accumulation around $1. And I mean, if you see where 𝗠𝗏𝗃 is today, that would have paid off already on a 42% gain. It was ranging at that dollar level. I mean, this is going to be one of the best accumulations because once the bull market does officially come back in this next cycle, all these games and the IGOs and the token launches are going to filter right through 𝗠𝗏𝗃. And I think that 𝗠𝗏𝗃 is still the top gaming launch pad out there. You know, 𝗠𝗏𝗃 is going to do really well long term. Trader Joe, very bullish. They've brought so much to the platform ever since the lows, and I think Joe has a ton of potential as well. Vera, very bullish. Decimated looks fantastic. Rainmaker Games, I've not been too bullish on guilds lately. I have been seeing what Rainmaker's doing, and I still like the protocol. Gala is going to do fantastic. One of the best companies purely in Web3 games. Magic, yeah, we talked about Magic. I mean, long term, that's going to be the biggest gaming winner underneath 𝗪𝗏𝗻, and it probably will be a leveraged play on 𝗪𝗏𝗻 eventually once that officially catches on. And the market cap on Magic, you know, you look at the market cap at 300 million. I think that's got so much potential. A multi-billion-dollar market cap in the bull run. Spores is the new 𝗠𝗏𝗃. Well, looks like I got to do some digging. Yeah, Magic, very bullish. Very bullish. Blur, I think it's going to fade. I think Blur is going to fade. I think the Blur farming is the only reason that people are still using it, to be completely honest. All right, guys. I'm going to hop out of here. A little over 20 minutes. I gave you all the narratives that already have moved that we've called out, but more importantly, the narratives I think that have been trading sideways a bit too long. And I think we do see some liquidity hit narratives like the individual games, metaverses, other smart NFT protocols other than Altura, as well as the leading protocols like 𝗪𝗓𝗋𝗋, Vulcan Forge, for example. I think they are definitely due for another leg up. Like the video if you enjoy the content here on In the Game and on Crypto Banter. Subscribe to the channel for shows here every single day. And I will see you guys on the next one. As always, play well, my friends.